Live from multiple locations via the miracle of Skype, it's the LTN Hour. Let's talk NASCAR with your host, Todd Bailing. Featuring dangerous Dan Margetta and Brian Schmidt. LTN is a caller-driven program, and your participation is encouraged by calling 414-421-7901. That's 414-421-7901. Now, the creator and host of the fastest hour in radio, Todd Bailing.
Welcome to the program. How you doing, everybody? Todd Bailing in Phoenix, Arizona. My three partners spread out across the state of Wisconsin. Dan Margetta in St. Francis. Hey, man.
Hey, good morning. We had a pretty good week this week, Wisconsin racing-wise, didn't we? Taking home the biggest super late model race of the season last night.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. Brian Schmidt of Utzberg, Wisconsin.
Yeah. Sometimes it's, you don't have the very best car and you still win the race. That's sometimes better to be lucky than good. And he was really good at the end of that race there. And the other two guys screwed up, and there you have it.
And it's funny, we bring her in last since she's the closest to what we're talking about. PJ Noodleman of Trempealeau, Wisconsin.
Hey.
Yeah, that was a pretty big event for your little family there, wasn't it?
It was, and I think it was a calculated move by Ty to let Bubba go around him. I think he smelled something brewing after all the times that he's seen things slip through his fingers.
We are, of course, talking about last week's Snowball Derby, for which PJ did such a marvelous job on her annual pit walk. But in case you missed it, Ty had a pretty darn good car, as you might imagine, since he won the race. But who in this world that was watching that race said to themselves, like I did, I think I'm going to let this guy go. They're going to take each other out anyway. And I'll be damned. But there it was. And PJ, it was, I'm thinking how fun it was to watch for me. It had to be really fun for you sitting there in the stands and keeping an eye on it.
Well, it was fun, but it was very stressful, too. I don't know how many beers I downed at that particular. I mean, I was
keeping us up on that.
I was damn near slamming them at that point because I just couldn't handle the stress.
One way to handle the stress. The bad news about that is you missed a little portion of the race standing in line, didn't you?
No, I had a whole bunch of them up in the stands with me.
That's beautiful. Well, there's that bathroom run that comes at the most inopportune time. But so Ty Majeski wins the Snowball Derby last week. Arguably the biggest short track event for paved cars in the country. $35,000 to win. Pretty awesome. And let the crying begin. You had Stephen Nasse, who had a pretty good car, and Bubba Pollard. It's been documented about how many times he's been there and not won it. It's a little bit like Earnhardt at Daytona before he actually won it for the first time. And Ty was destined to finish third if it wasn't for the nature of the driving style of the two drivers in front of him. They're both pig-headed and kind of didn't want to let the other one get away with a win, and took each other out. And that's the way it goes sometimes. And you're 35,000 richer. Fun to watch race, though. I got to tell you, it was fun. But I can imagine there was some stress involved.
Those about 10 or 12 laps where Ty and Nasse were side by side. That's probably some of the best asphalt short track racing I've ever seen. I mean, they gave each other room. They had respect. They weren't, rubbing terribly to the point where, you wreck each other. They just raced really hard, and Ty kept going on that high side, and that was really good stuff.
I didn't realize the high side was that good. Well, it really wasn't that good unless it appeared Ty Majeski was up there, because nobody else was as good as he was in that top lane. But fun to watch, that's for sure. We're going to have a pretty neat show for you today. As we talked about, and as we went into the off season, we thought it would be a good idea to catch up with people that are from the great land of cheese and have gone down to NASCAR to make a career. We talked to Bobby Dotter a couple of weeks ago, and of course last week it was PJ's pit walk, so we kind of went back on that a little bit. We talked to Ron Malik, who was the car chief on the number 48 car for all the championships down at Hendrick Motorsports. Well, we've got a special guest today who will be joining us after the next break, who has a job very similar to what Ron Malik did. He's one of the car chiefs at Hendrick Motorsports. You may remember him as being a part-time, I wouldn't say part-time. He raced at Madison full-time back in the day. Jesse Saunders, he's from the Madison area, and he is now the car chief for Kyle Larson. We're going to talk to Jesse after the first break, so it'll be very worth listening into today. Fun program all the way around. He's an interesting young guy, and we love him. He's just fun to listen to. PJ, your Racing Nuggets podcast is going to have a very interesting interview this week, which drops Tuesday, I guess, right?
Yeah, it'll drop on Tuesday, and it is Toby. He just agreed to be the guest this week, so yeah.
So you couldn't find a guest, huh?
Well, it was a little short notice when we got back late on Monday. So, yeah, I didn't have enough time to pull something together. So.
Well, that's not a bad one that you can have on, the guy that's been there through Ty's whole career.
I figured I'd keep him in my back pocket. Everybody kept harassing me. When are you going to have Toby on? When are you going to have Toby on? I was waiting for this particular moment when I needed it, and it made good sense.
And this seems like a perfect place for it. As we will probably discuss further in this program, this turns out to be the Spire Week. Spire Motorsports. Dan, what are their two car numbers? 77 is one and 7 is the other?
Yeah, and they got that third car now next year with 71. Remember, that's going to be a Trackhouse driver with a Spire car with Zane Smith. So they'll have 3 cars.
3 cars, and bringing back number 71, by the way, a legendary number that Dave Marcus drove so many years. But Spire, oh my God, they're making news by spending money. What could a place like Spire Motorsports have possibly done to get into the news? Well, for one, they paid just a hair under $14.5 million to buy out Kyle Busch Motorsports, KBM. They bought the building, they bought the land, and Dan, for that kind of money, there had to be more in it.
Yeah, I think they got the trucks and everything else. They got the whole team. I mean, people are saying that they paid double what the building was worth, but it was more than the building. They got the whole team as well. And that's on the truck side. Plus, they bought that charter. Remember, it was like $40 million for that. They're making a lot of big steps. I mean, they hired some crew chiefs. They've got the new driver with Zane Smith in that deal with Trackhouse. Doug Ducart came on.
That's amazing. Doug Ducart is a very well-respected name in NASCAR. He was, for 12 years, he was the Hendrick Motorsports Vice President of Development, and then he was the Executive Vice President and General Manager for the entire team before, I believe, that post was kind of rendered useless since they hired Jeff Gordon to be the president there. But then he went 6 years at Ganassi Racing. He was there when they hired Matt Kenseth, as a matter of fact, even though he's not the one that actually hired Matt. But he gets hired to run Spire Motorsports. You bring a name like that in, let's kind of go through the list of what they've just spent. $40 million for a charter, $14.5 to buy the building and land from Kyle Busch Motorsports, Doug Ducart to bring in a high-profile president, and then, like Dan mentioned, they hired a couple of crew chiefs. They hired Kevin Harvick's one of Harvick's engineers, a guy by the name of Stephen Duran. He's going to be one of the new crew chiefs over there at Spire, and Luke Lambert, PJ. He's been around for a while, hasn't he?
Yeah, he was with he's been with Roush.
Sorry.
Yeah.
It's all right.
With Childress. He was with Ryan Newman and guys over there, and then he went to Buescher with on Roush, and then last year he was with, I think, Eric Jones and Noah Gregson.
Was he with Buescher when Buescher got farmed out to the 34 car? Anyone?
It was 2020 and 2021. I can't remember what he was in that year.
All right. Okay. Well, either way, Luke Lambert was a crew chief at Legacy Motorsports, which is, the Jimmy Johnson team. Now he goes over and will work for Spire, which means they spent more money to bring him over. Money. It's
Time to win some races over there.
Like they've spent enough. It's time to start winning races. We're going to come back with Jesse Saunders. Hang in there.
Who saw this coming?
The Packers have defeated the Chiefs.
Now 6-6, the Packers head east for a Monday night matchup with the Giants. Doug Russell kicks things off at 3 on Milwaukee's home for the Packers. 97.3 The Game.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship-winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at wagnerautomotive.com. Hey, Matthew, give me a hand with this tree.
Dad, let's get a real tree this year.
Hey, leave that fake tree in the box under the basement steps this year. Get a real tree from PMF Landscape on River Road in West Bend. Any kind of real tree imaginable, up to 18 feet. A huge assortment of Christmas decorations, including wreaths in 3 sizes, cemetery wreaths, festive global hanging ornaments, bows, garland roping, and more. Stop in 7 days a week during the holiday season, have refreshments, and check everything out. How about a PMF gift certificate? The perfect gift. PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 South River Road in West Bend. Call them, 262-338-8800.
Dad, our tree from PMF Landscape looks great.
The Milwaukee Admirals 4-game road trip continues Friday when the team travels to Winnipeg to take on the Manitoba Moose.
A 4-on-3 power play goal, his second goal of the year. First on the power play, Milwaukee takes a 2-0 lead.
Pre-game coverage at 6:30, face-off at 7 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back to LTN. Jesse Saunders, you may or may not realize that the car chief for Kyle Larson is a Wisconsin native, Jesse Saunders, from the Madison area. And Jesse, right now, living down in North Carolina, joins us from his home. Jesse, welcome.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
It's been, we have talked to you before. It's been a while. We thought we'd catch up and see how things are going. You got married about a year ago, but no kids yet, huh?
No, not yet. I'm sure my mom and I know my wife wants some kids, but right now the living on the road is a little bit of a time crunch, and we'll try to plan it out here in the future, but probably on the horizon.
You can do like Tony Stewart, that wait till he's 53 years old and start thinking about it. But we'll get into that later. It's interesting how a kid from the Madison area, and where exactly in the Madison area did you grow up?
I am a New Glarus, Wisconsin native, so about 30 minutes south of Madison, about 20 minutes from the border of that other state.
Yeah, we try not to mention them because there's some pretty questionable types from South Beloit, Illinois, that you work with that we don't talk about too much. So I would assume that you went to racing and went to Rockford and maybe Madison to watch.
Yeah, actually, Madison was my home track per se. Spent a lot of time growing up at Jefferson as well. Those are kind of the 2 tracks I went to growing up. So yeah, kind of started there and got the love for it. My grandpa raced, before my time, but, that was actually my mom's dad. And, that's kind of what got the bug put in the family. And, we went to the races and got hooked as a family and kind of went from there.
What was your grandpa's name?
Pat Severson.
Severson?
Severson,
Okay.
yeah. He raced Columbus, I think, a lot. He actually he was the crazy 8. His number was 8. He had a little crazy in it. So when I started racing my first year at Jefferson, and then pretty much up until ASA when I had to buy a number, I was always number 8 in late models, and that was for him.
Okay.
And then my numbers always carried a little crazy in the 8 for him. So that was the catalyst of what we have now of a career.
All right. So you started Jefferson. What class did you start in out there?
I was lucky enough to start right in late models. When we decided, I raced karts, and then we decided we wanted to move up to the next thing as a family, and because obviously, I mean that's how it works, right? You got to have some sort of support, and my parents were really supportive, and we decided when I was 15 to not race anything, take the year off, buy a car, work on it, get it ready. So when I was 16 to go, and that's when I got a job at Pathfinder Chassis working for Kevin Latch at the time. Kind of learned through him and working there, and that's where I met Austin, who went on to come down south. But that was the foot in the door for late models and kind of my education, and learned a lot from there, and just built it from there, and learned everything I could, and started making connections, and that was ultimately too what helped kind of pave the way for me racing, because I could build my own parts, and obviously working there got really good deals on parts. So it was my best sponsorship I ever had, was just going to work there.
The Austin you mentioned is Austin Konetsky, correct?
Yes, it is.
All right. And of course, that's who we were making reference to from being from South Beloit, Illinois. He also still works under the same roof that you do, right?
He does, actually. He took, when Ron left to go back into the real world, and left Hendrick Motorsports, it was Austin who took over his job. So Austin's off the road now. But he's the shop foreman basically for Hendrick Motorsports, and oversees all the day-to-day stuff for all the cars. So still he did some time in Wisconsin. He lived in Janesville. We were roommates for a while we worked at Pathfinder. So he's got a little Wisconsin time in him. So I can't make too much fun of him.
That's pretty good. Now, here you are racing late models at Jefferson. I saw you for the first time when you were racing a late model at Madison, number 87. How did we go from 8 to 87? And how did there's a kind of a transition there from Jefferson to Madison, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Jefferson went well, and we just kind of wanted the next thing. So we thought moving up to super lates at Madison would make sense. And basically that first year we were number 8, and we struggled. It's hard. Super late models, especially in that time, was hard with Wilberg, and Canales was still running. Bobby Weiss was still running. I mean, just big names, at least for me growing up. Those were guys I wanted to emulate. And so it was tough, but we kind of soldiered through that year. Well, that following year was when kind of the whole crate buzz came around, and for a family like us, that fit the bill. So we did that, and then that was when you kind of had to buy your number. So I went ahead, and 8 was already taken because of Eddie Hoffman. So I combined my old cart number, which was number 7, because of Alan Kwiecki. So put them together, and 87 looked pretty cool, and Nathan Haslai and company were pretty good racers. So I figured if I could, at least be in the conversation, if maybe somebody made a mistake, that would be a good company to be in.
That's funny. So here you are racing weekly at Madison. Now, somewhere along the line here, I was not the announcer there anymore, and I did not see you as you transitioned out of away from Madison. But kind of fill in for me there, would you?
Yeah. So
before you do that, this is be a perfect place to take a break. We're talking with the Jesse Saunders, the car chief for Kyle Larson, and how he made it from the short tracks of Wisconsin to a career in NASCAR. We'll continue with Jesse right after these.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
Brian Radke here from Sunday Night Football on Westwood One. It's an NFC East showdown in Texas this week as Dak Prescott and the 9-3 Cowboys meet Jalen Hurts and the 10-2 Eagles. Philly won the first meeting, but is coming off a tough loss to the 49ers. The Cowboys look to even the season series and join the Eagles atop the division. Join Mike Golick and me for all the action. Eagles at the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football.
Coverage starts at 6:30 on Milwaukee's home for the NFL. 97.3 The Game.
Welcome back to LTN. We're talking with Jesse Saunders, who drove number 87 at Madison, and one of our longtime listeners and supporter of racing in Wisconsin, Craig Seigel, put a post up on our Facebook page that says, "Were you a Brian Refner fan? He was blue, and he was always number 87."
No, well, I mean, I didn't have anything against him, but I didn't really connect the two dots, honestly. That was just on my part. I'm a Southern Wisconsin guy. He was Northern Wisconsin, and I know all he did with the ASA and everything. But when after I had the blue car and with the 87, I quickly started seeing it and realizing that I'd kind of copied him. So sorry to Brian. You're still the better 87, but no, I was actually kind of not friends, but knew Nathan, and then ended up working with his dad at Pathfinder farther in my career, and he was kind of the one at the time that I was in awe of, because that was when he was making his truck debut and doing a lot in the sport at the time. So.
All right, so now you've raced your super late at Madison, and that's about the point where I lost track of you. Kind of fill us in after that, would you?
Yeah, so basically we kind of got hooked up with the whole ASA crate motor deal, ran Madison, traveled a little bit in 2005, and we kind of were lucky and had some good runs. So we thought we wanted to get into doing some more traveling, break away from the weekly thing. We thought that would be the next thing in our career. Didn't really pan out, so we ran 2006 full-time at Madison, and it was everything, any sort of struggle you could have, we did. So then we kind of, in the winter of 2006, decided that we need to commit, and we can't kind of put one toe in the water with traveling. So that's our first year. We really stepped away and just traveled with the ASA late model deal, which was pretty strong at the time. And that's where things really started to kind of click and really started going well. That was 2007. We had a lot of good runs, a lot of fast times, a lot of seconds and thirds, and I was just never one of those guys that, for lack of a better term, could close the deal. I was just really, really consistent, but just not the Eddie Hoffman or the Hoppy or the Hasleys or those guys that you see them up front, running up front, and then they can close the deal. So really good. Raced with names of Brett Moffitt and Eric Jones and stuff like that, and competed with them. Ran side by side, but did that for a little bit. Had like I said, had decent success, but not enough. Got a short little shot to drive the Menard's car for Charlie Menard when he was when he was getting married and wanted to kind of transition more into an ownership role. I ran a race for them at the Milwaukee Mile and up at Marshfield in lacrosse, and it's starting to kind of look promising for a young kid that wanted to make a career out of it. But then personal things there kind of changed the trajectory of that whole program. And so then we were kind of back to square one. So, that at that point we kind of put.
Was it at IRP? You won a big race at IRP one time. Was it an ASA late model thing? I remember you had a pretty dominant run. That's when I kind of really first started noticing you.
Yeah, and that was we'd won at Toledo in 2010, and that was kind of the big. I don't want to call it the breakthrough, because in 2007, 2008 we ran ASA, and we showed up, I think that first year in 2007, we showed up to IRP and they had like 50 some cars. And I was, to make the show, that was a tall ask. And I'm like, man, I think we might have screwed up here. Like, we're spending a lot of money to come do this. And we went out and qualified second to Butch Miller, or the kid running Butch Miller's car at that time. And that was a big shot of confidence. And that felt kind of like the breakthrough. But yeah, I mean, it was fun. We went to a lot of cool tracks with that ASA deal all over the Midwest and Michigan and Ohio, and IRP was one of my favorites. Toledo was one of my favorites. Those were opportunities that, you just don't really get. So that was a lot of fun.
So now you were a race car driver, but that's not your destiny. How did you move away from racing and suddenly find yourself in North Carolina?
Yeah, well, we had to make some pit stops along the way. When we finally kind of decided, 2010, I gave it one last kind of go. I took 2009 off, raced, maybe 2 or 3 times, very, very limited, and then kind of pooled all my money together and gave it one last shot in 2010, and had a lot of great help, a lot of good people, and just, again, really consistent, but just not winning like you should, or, I'm no Kyle Larson. That became evident. So, decided that it was time to probably go make some money and pay the bills instead of keep racking them up. So, wanted to go get into NASCAR, and it's kind of hard. It's at least it seems hard for being on the outside. Once you're inside, it kind of makes more sense. But had some connections through Austin, but didn't really feel right. And didn't really know exactly what I wanted to do. And I ended up actually seeing a post for ThorSport Racing. So I replied to it and went and interviewed there, and it was actually for Joe Shear. So spent the day there, kind of as a job interview, which to Joe's credit,
Ohio now, right?
This was Ohio, yeah. And then to Joe's credit, it was just make you do something in the shop. So he was just getting some free help. But did that and didn't screw up enough that ended up getting hired for him.
All right, and so now you're in Ohio, but that's quite a leap from Ohio to North Carolina.
It is. So ended up working for Joe for 3 years there, and then Joe was leaving to go take care of Cole Custer, who was going to be making his Truck Series debut. This was the middle of 2013, and I liked working for Joe. It was fun. I didn't have anything, and he was always thinking and trying to come up with things. And for me, who didn't really, all I cared about was race cars, that was perfect. And it was a good transition from working on your own stuff to just kind of going into a truck team and working for someone like that was still just creative and thinking, and it was a good learning opportunity. So I wanted to follow him, so I ended up following him down south here, and we kind of started to put the truck team together for Cole Custer. And right about that time, Austin and I were talking, because I was down in North Carolina, and he'd been down there for for a couple of years, and he was working at Hendrick now on the 48 for Jimmy and Ron. And he said, "Yeah, we're looking for someone in the shop if you're interested." Still loved traveling. Wanted to travel, but I thought that this might be my only opportunity to get myself in the door. So ended up going and interviewing, and got the job at Hendrick. And it started off honestly as a shop guy, and did that to start my career, my NASCAR Cup career.
That's fantastic. What a great story. And now you find yourself at Hendrick Motorsports. We're talking to Jesse Saunders. We're going to be back with Jesse after we take a short break, and we're sure happy that Jesse has joined us. We'll be right back.
The Milwaukee Admirals 4-game road trip continues Friday when the team travels to Winnipeg to take on the Manitoba Moose.
A 4-on-3 power play goal, his second goal of the year. First on the power play, Milwaukee takes a 2-0 lead.
Pre-game coverage at 6:30, face-off at 7 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
As a growing manufacturing company, we needed security solutions. We chose Bonafide because of the services they offer, pricing, and trusted reputation. But it's their outstanding service and support that convinced us we made the right choice with Bonafide.
When businesses need security, they contact Bonafide Security Solutions. From locks and alarms to safes and surveillance, we do it all. We are Bonafide. We protect what you value. For your free security survey, call us today or visit bonafidesafe.com.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at WagnerAutomotive.com.
There is your dagger. Fresh off back-to-back wins against the Lions and Chiefs, Packers travel to the Meadowlands for a Monday night matchup with the Giants. Coverage begins with Packers Game Day at 3 on 97.3 The Game.
Welcome back. Jesse Saunders is joining us, whose career has now taken him in the door at Hendrick Motorsports. And you were part of Jimmy Johnson's team over there, weren't you?
Yeah. So I walked in the door as a shop guy, but that lasted about 2 months, and I was on the road with the 48. Soon became their underneath guy, and got the opportunity to work under Chad and Ron and work with Austin again, which was kind of bittersweet. And we ended up winning a championship together, which was amazing, and got to be part of number 7.
And that was the 7th. But then, of course, Jimmy retires. You switch some cars and crews and chiefs and other things around. And next thing you know, you're driving for a young man who seems to have some talent, huh?
Yeah, I've been pretty fortunate. My NASCAR career has had 3 drivers, and it's basically been Johnny Sauter, Jimmy Johnson, and Kyle Larson. And I don't know if you really can argue, talent-wise, there's probably some better names there. So very lucky, and Kyle's amazing. He's a California kid, laid back, and just it's fun to watch, No
kidding. And speaking of Kyle Larson, of course, you win a championship also with Kyle Larson, which is pretty great. But Kyle was just here. I saw that there was a test here that the media was not invited to, that here at the Phoenix track, and that your driver was here. When I think your driver was here, that makes me think that you were here too.
I was, Todd. I'm sorry I didn't give you a call. I was in and out, so we didn't have time to hook up. But yeah, we were. We signed up for that test back in September. So got back from Phoenix from the race and took a couple days, and then started getting ready for the test and finished that up this week. And now it's officially off season.
All right, so I have to ask you, how did the test go? What is it that NASCAR was looking for out here, and what did you come up with?
NASCAR is looking for a lot of things, and ultimately, it's no secret. I mean, NASCAR wants to put on good shows. They want to have a good package, and obviously, the short track package or road course / short track package right now isn't the most conducive for good racing. So they're just trying some stuff to see if they can kind of make the cars a little more racy in terms of put a little bit back in the driver's hands, get a little bit, off of aero and kind of all the things that come from it. So some different underbody packages and just kind of some things there to see if just getting two cars to be able to race side by side or nose to tail and be able to continue racing and not be so dependent on clean air per se.
Did they come up with a way to get away from the shifting? I mean, one of the things we've noticed with these new cars on a short track is they're constantly shifting, and those of us from short track racing, that's not a normal thing. So, I mean, is that something they're looking at trying to get away from so that there'd be more, braking and better passing opportunities?
Yeah, they are. It was actually something that was on the docket and then ended up getting changed at the last minute in favor of some more time to try some other things. I know it's on, whether they cure it or not or make some changes this year. None of us know that even at, coming from the test. We really just try to gather the data for them and then ultimately they'll make the decision. But that definitely was one of the things I know that they had circled as far as wanting to change or fix, however you want to say it.
All right, so the logical question is, your career has taken you to pretty much the top of NASCAR, but there's more out there. Is there any kind of desire on your part to be a crew chief someday?
No, not really anymore. When I was a little bit younger and just got into the sport, it was something that seemed like it could be a possibility, but I really enjoy kind of this part of it. Maybe if I'm ever looking for a change, a managerial type of role, within the company or something to do with maybe some competition side of it. But I kind of like this right now. It's a lot of hours, but I still get the opportunity to kind of shut it off at a certain point. Crew chiefs don't. They're 7 days a week. It's just different. You're dealing more.
What about racing? Do you ever desire to get back behind the wheel again?
No, not anymore. I was lucky. I had an opportunity a couple of years ago. I came back and raced Jason Schuler's late model at Madison, and it was a lot of fun. But it was kind of the time I realized that's kind of just passed. I just have so much respect for the people that race in general. It's so much work and it's so much effort, and I don't think I could just, for lack of a better term, kind of half-ass it. So, getting behind the wheel and stuff just seems, I don't know. I don't think I could bring my my commitment that I had when I did race, and that part doesn't seem fun. I don't want to call it in per se, just to do it.
Yeah, there you go. So, what's it like working with Kyle Larson?
It's a lot of fun. For someone races as much as he does, he's definitely has a spotlight on him for multitude of reasons. Pick one on any given weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Is laid back and as much as he takes it in stride, and just to have, I don't know, it seems like from the outside to have a lot of pressure on you. He handles it so well. He's good to his guys. He has a focus and level that I've never seen in anybody before. So it makes it pretty easy to give it your all for a guy like that. He's gonna show up, and his off day is still better than most people's on days. So
fantastic.
It's never a question.
To have worked with two of the greatest ever in Jimmy Johnson and Kyle Larson, you have had a blessed life so far, and you're a young guy yet. You got a lot of years to do this yet. How old are you?
I'm not that young anymore, Todd, but I just turned 39, I think. or no, 38. So.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Everybody knows you stop counting. Everybody knows you stop counting once you hit your 30s. So I've given up on
supposedly.
counting. But,
people in 30s think they're getting old, which is pretty hilarious. Well, Jesse, it's been it's a spectacular story for you to make it from the short tracks here in Wisconsin to being champion car chief for two different drivers, two of the greatest that ever took laps in NASCAR. And the story that you tell is fantastic. You have a lot of folks around these parts that follow what you do and follow Kyle Larson's career and know that you are intertwined right now. And we certainly hope the best for you as time goes on.
Well, I appreciate it. Pretty proud to be from Wisconsin, have my roots there, and have it be what started this career. So very lucky.
Thanks, Jesse. Hope to talk to you again in the near future.
Sounds good. Thank you.
All right. We'll be back. Hang in there.
Who saw this coming?
The Packers have defeated the Chiefs.
Now 6-6, the Packers head east for a Monday night matchup with the Giants. Doug Russell kicks things off at 3 on Milwaukee's home for the Packers. 97.3 The Game.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
Hey, Matthew, give me a hand with this tree.
Dad, let's get a real tree this year.
Hey, leave that fake tree in the box under the basement steps this year. Get a real tree from PMF Landscape on River Road in West Bend. Any kind of real tree imaginable, up to 18 feet. A huge assortment of Christmas decorations, including wreaths in 3 sizes, cemetery wreaths, festive global hanging ornaments, bows, garland roping, and more. Stop in 7 days a week during the holiday season, have refreshments, and check everything out. How about a PMF gift certificate? The perfect gift. PMF Landscape Supply, 5470 South River Road in West Bend. Call them, 262-338-8800.
Dad, our tree from PMF Landscape looks great.
Ryan Radke here from Sunday Night Football on Westwood One. It's an NFC East showdown in Texas this week as Dak Prescott and the 9-3 Cowboys meet Jalen Hurts and the 10-2 Eagles. Philly won the first meeting, but is coming off a tough loss to the 49ers. The Cowboys look to even the season series and join the Eagles atop the division. Join Mike Golick and me for all the action. Eagles at the Cowboys on Sunday Night Football.
Coverage starts at 6:30 on Milwaukee's home for the NFL. 97.3 The Game.
And now the LTN Hour presents Dirt on the Dirt with Brian Schmidt.
We don't have any dirt results this week as everybody was attending the big PRI show down in Indianapolis the last couple of days. But with PRI comes schedule releases. So a lot of the major touring series have dropped their schedule for 2024. So we'll highlight some of them when they come around the area here. We'll start with the World of Outlaws Sprint Cars. They make several appearances in Wisconsin. They're in Beaver Dam on May 31st and June 1st for their traditional race. Cedar Lake, their traditional one right before the 4th of July, June 28th, 29th. Wilmot will become a 2-day show this in 2024. They're going to run Friday, July 12th and Saturday, July 13th. And they make one more trip close to the area, just south of the border at the Joliet Route 66 Raceway on October 18th and 19th. So plenty of chances to catch the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars this year, which is good because with the All-Star Circuit of Champions disbanding and becoming High Limits, the High Limits series released their schedule, and unfortunately they are not making any stops in the state of Wisconsin, or for that matter, even close to the area this year. Not sure what happened there. A lot of people were anticipating some of their races at the traditional All-Star events, but that is not the case. So
I think it's down to High Limit versus the Outlaws kind of competing right now, and I think that might have a lot to do with it. That I think a lot of tracks, if you have an outlaw event, you may not be able to favorably have a high limit event. And then other places, it just dates don't work in other places that they probably could go on. Brad Sweet said they wanted to come here, but they couldn't make nothing work.
Right. Yeah, it sounds like, and there's different sanctioning fees and things like that. So we'll see. We'll see how this whole thing goes through. Sprint car racing is in a different state as it was a couple of years ago. So we'll see how these all pan out here over the next couple of years. And I would imagine we'll get back on track and get some good quality high limits races up here in the future. USAC also released their schedule at PRI. The Silver Crown Series will make their traditional stop June 21st at Madison. The USAC National Sprint Car Series, the non-wing sprints, will be at Wilmot on Saturday, June 22nd, and Angel Park on Sunday, June 23rd. And the USAC National Midgets return to Angel Park for the Firemen's National Labor Day weekend, September 1st and 2nd. So some good USAC events around here to catch as well. Lucas Oil 8 Model Dirt Series, no Wisconsin dates, but they do come close. They'll be Friday, May 10th at Farmers City, Illinois, which is not too far down the road, and Saturday, May 11th at Fairbury. So a couple chances to catch them. World of Outlaw 8 Models, they're April 12th and 13th for the traditional Alliant I-100 at Farmers City Raceway. A little later this year than it's been in the last couple. They haven't raced that event in it's got to be almost 3 years probably. They've rained it out every year, so hopefully they're able to get that one in. Fountain City, Wisconsin, the Mississippi Thunder Speedway, May 3rd and 4th for the Dairyland Classic. July 26th and 27th is the big Prairie Dirt Classic down in Fairbury. They come to Wilmot on Monday, July 29th. So for the first time, the World of Outlaw late models will take to the Wilmot Speedway. They put a lot of effort into that place this year, so getting a lot of events for the work they put forth. And their traditional USA Nationals up at Cedar Lake Speedway, that's August 1st through the 3rd. And in the special events thing, this is one that just came out on Thursday afternoon. Fountain City Raceway out in Mississippi. Mississippi Thunder Raceway out in Fountain City, Wisconsin, which is right up the road across the river from Winona, Minnesota, is going to have on May 30th to June 1st. It's the XR Super Series, which was doing the late model thing for many years. They are putting together a modified series. It's called One Nation Under Modifieds, UNOH or something like that. They are going to combine all the modified type of series, IMCA, UMP, USMTS, and WSOTA, put them all together, kind of create rules so they're equal, and they're going to have a $100,000 and $1 to win event that weekend up there. The list, they limited it to 200 cars, but so many people signed up that overnight from Friday night into Saturday morning, it went over 212 entries. You name it, they're in it. Scott Bloomquist, Brandon Shepard, Shannon Babb, Jimmy Owens. You have Mike Harrison from the UMP ranks. You have a lot of the top WSOTA guys from up in that area there. Buzzy Adams. You have
right?
You have Rodney Sanders and all the guys. Ryan Gustin from the USMTS series. It is an incredible list of cars up there, and the event is they got 212 cars signed up. They're going to put a waiting list together, so if guys drop off because of scheduling conflicts or something, they'll add cars to it. But Dan, we booked our hotel for this because this looks pretty cool.
Yeah, we're going. We got to get that booked in before people realize what's going on, so the rates don't go up.
So what the format's going to be, it's going to be 2 events, Thursday and Friday. They're going to split the field in half, so there'll be about 106 cars each night they're going to run. You're going to see where you finish on those events, 5,000 win features, and then they're going to run an alphabet soup thing, very similar to what they do with the Chili Bowl on Saturday, culminating with the big $100,000 and one to win feature event for modifieds that night. So it's something really cool. It's put on by the XR people. Barry Braun is putting a lot of money into it. Looks like a really cool event. Something we've never seen before. We've always wondered how the best of the best, Benji Lacrosse, would race against some of the best from UMP and all that kind of stuff. They have different rules packages. I think the 604 cars are going to run a 5-inch spoiler. They're going to limit what they can do with the open motor cars. You're going to have tire choices. If you're a American Racer guy from the USMTS series, you can run those. If you're a Hoosier guy from IMCA and UMP, you're going to be able to run those tires. They're going to have a very similar compound. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of politics and a lot of complaining going on, but it's really cool to see someone put something together like this because you've never been able to combine them all together. So neat event to see come together in a short period of time.
$100,000 to win. How much is it to start the A main?
I believe it's $3,500 to start the A main.
Ooh, baby.
Wow.
And then how many cars in the A main? That's the next.
I think 24. I think they're going to have 24 to 28 cars will start the A main. So
PJ, how big is that track?
I'm not even sure.
It's like a 3/8 mile between a third and a 3/8. Dan and I were up there 2 years ago for the World of Outlaw event up there. Really nice place, beautiful part of the country. And a really racy joint. That place is a modified type of track. The type of surface they have on there is designed for modifieds. They run modifieds there weekly, and they put on a heck of a show from what they'll. I mean, there's people that we talked to when we were there that week, Dan, that come all the way across the state to watch their weekly show because it's so good. So I think this is going to be a positive event up there.
Outstanding. All right, we're going to sneak away for a break, and maybe if we play our cards right, we might be able to talk to the winning crew chief from last week's Snowball Derby. We'll see. We'll be right back.
From racing engines to street engines, long blocks to turnkey packages, or complete custom engines, just ask and Wagner Automotive can fill your needs. All backed by many years of racing experience. These years of experience have provided reliability and performance that customers need to win races. Wagner's has been building championship winning engines for top teams from NASCAR to short tracks in your backyard. This expertise has carried over to street engines they supply to top custom car builders. The Wagner Company, in the heart of Wisconsin, is outfitted with the state-of-the-art machinery necessary to design, manufacture, build, and test custom engines and their accessory parts. Dyno services are independently available for anyone needed to test their engine. Wagner's Company can also provide you or your company with production CNC machining or welding services. All your questions and requests are handled personally by Casey Wagner. Just give us a call at 920-394-3557 or visit our website at wagnerautomotive.com.
Miller Sales and Service is the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer for customer service and satisfaction. Serving the area since 1939, Miller's is located on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. As the Midwest's #1 Bravo trailer dealer, Miller's has all kinds of Bravo trailers from 8 feet to 48 feet in stock. They also have a selection of B&B utility and dump trailers, reliable and Chilton open aluminum and steel trailers. With over 50 pre-owned low-mileage cars, trucks, and SUVs, Miller's has just the vehicle you are looking for. Miller's also carries a full line of Alumacraft boats and Manitou pontoon boats, complete with Evinrude outboards. Why not buy from racers who know what racers want and need? With Miller's Sales and Service on the corner of Highway 57 and K in Random Lake. Call Jerry, Tom, or Brad Miller today at 920-994-4358. That's Miller's Sales and Service, 920-994-4358.
The Milwaukee Admirals 4-game road trip continues Friday when the team travels to Winnipeg to take on the Manitoba Moose.
A 4-on-3 power play goal, his second goal of the year. First on the power play, Milwaukee takes a 2-0 lead.
Pre-game coverage at 6:30, face-off at 7 on the Big 920 and your iHeartRadio app.
Welcome back. Nice to have you. We are in such a position having PJ on this program to have, well, how about, let's put it this way. She can wake up with the crew chief. And that's what we did today. Toby, her husband, is joining us on the program right now. And I think that's pretty cool. Hi.
Hi there. Hi, Tobes. Hi. I hope you can hear him all right.
Oh, geez. Let's get him over by a microphone if that's possible.
Are you there?
I'm here now, I think.
Can you hear him okay or no?
You might have to share that mic.
All right. I'll do this here instead.
There you go. My main question is, did you think that it was all over when, with a handful of laps to go, Ty got passed by Bubba Pollard? Did you think, like everyone else did, that those two are going to take each other out?
Well, we knew it was we thought it was a possibility. I mean, I know that's what went through Ty's mind. I mean, he thought about doing a crossover on Nasty, and Nasty just, this is Ty, he said he kind of lifted a little bit, and then Bubba got in there, and then it was at that point, and it's like, well, we'll just kind of see what happens here, I mean, it's amazing he could run on the outside. There's not very many that could have hung out there as long as he did, and he almost got it done. About every time he got it done, Nasty would kind of give him a little shot and keep him out there, and which is, I mean, you're 7 or 8 laps to go in the Snowball Derby. I mean, that's what happens,
Sure. Yeah,
you can't expect
payday too. Geez, I guess we're all riffing pretty hard at that point.
So,
Right.
so Toby, how's the car? How many pieces did you get the car back in after everything was all done?
Yeah, it's pretty tore. It's pretty tore. I took the doors off. They tore all the wiring out of it. They didn't pull the weight out, but they checked all that stuff, trailing arms and panner bar, all that stuff's apart. The motor, they pumped and whistled it and cam doctored it. And I mean, it was a very thorough inspection process, which
No hollow nuts.
It was a thorough colonoscopy, is what it was.
it was, but you know, when it's that much money, they were doing their job, and we were there for probably a couple hours, maybe longer, working on the thing. You know,
drove back in the middle of the night, right?
We left there at I think 8:30. We got home at 2:00 the next day. We drove all night to get home.
Oh boy, long trip. But what a great trip it was. And boy, working with this guy has been really good for Toby Noodleman, hasn't it?
Oh, that's awesome. Ty and I are, like I said, he's probably I love my kids and my daughters and all my grandchildren, but Ty's like a son I've never had.
That's pretty awesome. And talk about a chemistry. That's what the whole thing is about. And you guys were making we were being kept up by your wife on some of the calls or some of the things that you guys were discussing during the race about the setup on the car and all that. That's amazing how much it helps that this kid is an engineer too, doesn't it?
Oh, it does. That's what people don't understand, just how invested he is in this and just how much he knows. We can talk about going to a racetrack, and we could go to, this car's been to that racetrack. I don't even know. He could tell you exactly what year, when it's been there, what happened, what we had in for a setup. I mean, it's truly amazing. Just how much he knows about what's going on.
And able to get the job
So
done.
the obvious question is, when are we going to see the 91 car on the track next? Will we possibly see it at New Smyrna for that big Stars race on that Tuesday night that Dan and I will be there for?
I don't know what's going to happen there. We've talked about it. There's a 3 scheduling conflicts. So right now we can't do them all, but they have a deal there. Like for the Owners Championship, you can team up with somebody else and put the 91 on their car, and we get the owner's points. So we're just kind of enjoying this right now. And we did talk about it. We went with Todd, the car owner, and Ty and his dad and I, and we went to the PRI show. They had kind of a luncheon thing and came back home.
Well, congratulations, man. This is pretty awesome for anybody to have done, but a $35,000 payday and another name on the trophy. It's pretty cool stuff, and our congratulations.
Well, thank you.
That's pretty awesome. And thanks to everybody for tuning in for this episode of LTN. Don't forget that PJ's Racing Nuggets with the aforementioned Toby Noodleman will be dropping this coming Tuesday, so be sure to download that and watch it, and that should be pretty good stuff. And PJ, you put him back to bed now, would you?
Oh, no, we got plans.
There you go. And thanks to everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it. Next week will be the final show of the 2023 season as we take 2 weeks off for the holidays. So we hope everybody tunes in for that final show next week. We are working on and believe we have Matt Kenseth on the show next week. So be sure to be here for that. Real race cars have doors, even if they do climb in through the windows. Let's Talk NASCAR is produced and directed by Dangerous Dan Margetta. Our in-house engineer is Matt Losey, and for all of us, we'll see you next week, everybody.
This program has come to you live from multiple locations via Skype. Any and all comments expressed on this show do not necessarily express the opinions of this station, its employees, or advertisers. Your comments are always welcome at mail@ltnradionetwork.com. Find us at facebook.com/LTN Radio Network. And thank you for your support since 1985. Tune in again next Sunday morning at 10 a.m. Central Time for the LTN Hour on the LTN Radio Network.